Have you ever felt the ache of wondering why the divine masculine pulls away at the very moment your soul senses the union drawing near? Why he becomes silent just when the connection feels the strongest? Why the energy between you feels undeniably powerful, yet the path forward seems clouded with uncertainty? These questions linger not only in your mind, but deeply in your spirit. They disturb your peace, stir your intuition, and create a longing you cannot easily explain. You may feel confused by his distance, questioning whether you misread the signs or misunderstood the spiritual bond. But what you're experiencing is not just emotional confusion, it is the spiritual tension of destiny preparing to unfold. In today's sacred exploration, we will walk together into the deeper layers of this journey, into the space where ancient wisdom intertwines with the truth of your soul. As the voice of the divine feminine, I will help you uncover the spiritual design behind the divine masculine's hesitation. We will unravel the purpose within his pauses, the lessons within his silence, and the sacred reasons why he resists even when the love feels fated. You will discover that these cycles of distance are not signs of rejection, but universal invitations for growth. They are moments crafted to reshape both of you, to prepare your energies, and to align your destinies in ways you may not yet see. By the time we complete this journey together, your entire perspective will shift. You will no longer interpret his silence as abandonment, but as part of a divine rhythm guiding you toward a higher union. You will feel more grounded, more peaceful, and more connected to the sacred purpose behind every twist of your path. This is not merely a message, it is an activation, an awakening meant to bring clarity to your heart, calm to your spirit, and strength to your intuition. So breathe deeply, beloved soul. Stay with me through every moment of this revelation. Allow your heart to open, your energy to settle, and your spirit to receive. What you hear today may be the shift you have been sensing for months, the missing piece your soul has been waiting for. Your journey is sacred. Your questions are valid. And today, your answers begin to unfold. Number 1. The sacred question and the true nature of twin flames. Have you ever found yourself wondering why the divine masculine seems to retreat just when your soul feels that union is drawing near? Why the connection between you feels so overwhelmingly powerful, yet the path ahead appears clouded, uncertain, and emotionally disorienting? Perhaps you have sensed this intensity building between you, only to watch him pull back, grow silent, or withdraw into a distance that feels impossible to understand. Your heart may be aching for clarity, longing to know why the very soul who mirrors your deepest essence hesitates to fully surrender to a love that feels destined, ancient, and written into the blueprint of your existence. In this sacred journey we are walking through today, we step together into a space where ancient spiritual wisdom meets the eternal pulse of your soul's truth. As the voice of the divine feminine, I will guide you with gentleness and depth into the part of the twin flame journey that is often the most misunderstood, the divine masculine's resistance. We will explore the spiritual mechanics behind his pauses, the hidden purpose contained within his silence, and the sacred role these moments play in shaping the evolution of your soul. This is not just analysis, it is revelation. It is soul medicine. It is the remembrance of what your heart already knows, but your mind has not yet understood. By the end of this reflection, something inside you will shift. You will no longer perceive his distance as rejection or abandonment. Instead, you will see it as part of a powerful divine rhythm, a spiritual choreography designed to guide both of you toward a higher level of alignment, maturity, and union. You will feel more grounded, more peaceful in your heart, and more connected to the divine purpose pulsing underneath your journey. This message is not mere information. It is activation. It is remembrance. It is a moment of deep realignment with the truth of your soul's path. The bond between twin flames is not just another romantic storyline dipped in passion and longing. It is a cosmic phenomenon, an alchemical fusion of two souls who were once united at the moment of their creation, then separated to walk individual paths through multiple lifetimes. The purpose of this separation is not punishment or loss. It is preparation. Each soul must grow, evolve, and awaken in its own timing. and when the universe brings them together again, it is not simply for comfort or companionship. It is for a deep, transformative rebirth. When you feel the magnetic pull toward your twin flame, you are not merely encountering a person, you are standing before a divine mirror, the only mirror capable of reflecting you with spiritual precision. Through this reflection, your hidden wounds rise to the surface. Your unhealed past begins to reveal itself. Your deeply rooted fears ask to be acknowledged, and your highest potential begins to glow at the edge of your awareness. The twin flame connection does not arrive to keep you comfortable. It arrives to make you truthful. It dismantles illusions you believed were your identity. It dissolves layers of ego you didn't realize you were carrying, and it draws you into parts of your emotional and spiritual self that you have avoided for lifetimes. Every challenge you face on this journey, every painful separation, every echoing silence, every longing that feels like an ache in the center of your soul is not a sign of failure or chaos. These moments are sacred lessons, divinely orchestrated to awaken you. The distance that arises is not abandonment, it is preparation. The silence is not avoidance, it is recalibration. The discomfort you feel is the energy of transformation pressing against the walls of your old identity. The twin flame journey is a pilgrimage of the soul. It demands the courage to face your shadow, the vulnerability to surrender to your truth, and the unwavering faith to trust in a love that transcends time, fear, and logic. This journey evolves you, it purifies you, it expands you, and in doing so, it prepares you for union, not just with your twin flame, but with your highest self. As you absorb these truths, pause for a moment and reflect on your own path. Have you felt that undeniable pull towards someone who mirrored both your brilliance and your shadow? Have you stood in front of a soul whose presence awakened emotions, memories, or transformations you could not explain? Do you resonate with the idea that love can be more than comfort, that it can be a catalyst for spiritual awakening? Before we continue, take a gentle breath and allow everything you've just heard to settle into your heart. This journey is not meant to be rushed. It is meant to be felt. Reflect on what resonated with you the most. A memory, an emotion, a revelation about your own connection. If you feel called, share your thoughts or your personal story in the comments below. Your voice may be the message someone else needs today. And if you wish to keep your reflection simple, just type, "My soul remembers this love," as your affirmation. Let this be your moment of acknowledgement before we step into the next sacred layer of this journey. Number 2. The resistance of the divine masculine and the guardian bound by sorrows. To understand the resistance of the divine masculine, we must first recognize the sacred architecture of his nature. The divine masculine is not simply a man or an energy. It is the embodiment of strength, discernment, and guardianship. He is the pillar that stands firm when the world trembles. He is the anchor that grounds the storm. He is the steady presence that holds space when chaos rises. His purpose is to protect, to stabilize, to bring order and clarity where uncertainty lives. This is his design, his gift, his sacred essence. Yet even a pillar trembles when it encounters something powerful enough to shake the soul awake. When the divine masculine meets the heart-altering, soul-shifting force of a true twin flame connection, something inside him stirs that he cannot control. Twin flame love does not whisper gently, it erupts. It breaks open the heart. It disrupts patterns, and it illuminates every shadow he has learned to hide behind. And in that moment, the divine masculine often retreats. He does not withdraw because he feels nothing. He withdraws because he feels everything. His inner world becomes loud, trembling with emotions he has long avoided. His resistance is not a denial of the divine feminine's light, nor is it a rejection of her love or sacred presence. His retreat is a sacred pause, a protective response formed from emotional armor forged through years of expectations, disappointments, heartbreaks, and survival. Within the quiet chambers of his heart lies a tapestry of old wounds, silent battles he endured alone, generational burdens he never learned to release, and whispered beliefs passed down through lifetimes, telling him it is not safe to feel. These beliefs echo like ancient ghosts within him, Twin flame love awakens every buried shadow, stirring the very pain he vowed never to touch again. Imagine a mighty tree in late autumn. Its leaves fall not because it is dying, but because it is preparing for renewal. The shedding is essential for rebirth. This is the divine masculine's retreat. He steps back not to disconnect, but to shed his fears, his identities, his outdated stories. He enters a cocoon of introspection where old narratives unravel, making space for the truth of who he is becoming. Now imagine him as a guardian standing at the edge of ancient emotional boundaries. To the world, he appears unshaken, calm, steady, composed, yet beneath that exterior lies a vulnerable tenderness he has concealed even from himself. He carries unspoken heartbreak, grief from past lifetimes, and wounds left unattended in the silent corners of his soul. He has been taught to hold everything alone, to be strong without breaking, to protect without ever needing protection himself. When he meets the radiant truth of deep soul love, when he looks into the mirror of the divine feminine, something ancient within him awakens. This love does not simply touch him, it exposes him. It brings to light every scar, every memory, every unhealed fracture he believed was buried forever. You may feel this shift as the bond deepens. The warmth between you intensifies, and then suddenly there is space, a subtle pulling away, a quiet retreat. Many feminine energies interpret this as fading love, but in truth, this distance is a sacred response to emotional awakening. Your love touches the places he has long avoided, the parts of his soul he has taped shut. These wounds rise not to push you away, but to be acknowledged, felt, and finally healed. His retreat is not abandonment. It is a cry for space to breathe, to understand, to confront the shadow that has kept him from fully receiving the depth of your connection. Until he sits with his sorrows, until he names them, feels them, and releases them, he cannot step forward into the light of your shared destiny. He is not running from love. He is running toward truth, toward the healing required for union, toward the transformation that will eventually lead him back to you, not as a fragmented version of himself, but as a whole, awakened, aligned soul. He withdraws not to escape your love, but to become worthy of the sacred union his soul longs to honor. Number 3. The heart of resistance and a personal reflection. Behind every moment of silence from the divine masculine, behind each pause, each distance, and each retreat, there exists a far deeper invitation, one that extends far beyond the surface of emotion. His resistance is not simply about the space he creates. It is a spiritual signal, a sacred beckoning, calling both of you divine masculine and divine feminine to journey into the unknown together, to sit with vulnerability, and to transmute raw pain into timeless wisdom. In these moments, you are not being pushed away. You are being invited into a higher level of understanding. His resistance is not rejection. It is the soul's cry for breath, the longing to reclaim lost sovereignty, the need to tend to wounds that whisper quietly yet constantly that he is unworthy of deep intimacy. When he pulls away, it is not because his feelings have faded. Quite the opposite. It is because he feels so deeply that he must reorganize his inner world before he can step forward again. The intensity of the twin flame connection forces him to confront emotions he has spent years trying to control or avoid. In solitude, he is not abandoning the connection. He is navigating scattered fragments of himself, sorting through shattered pieces of old identities, beliefs, and unresolved pain. He is trying to remember who he truly is beneath the layers of conditioning, expectation, and survival. Every moment of withdrawal is an attempt to realign with a clearer, more authentic version of himself, one capable of meeting you with presence rather than fear. And throughout this internal process, your presence as the divine feminine becomes a spiritual anchor. You hold a frequency he has never known: unconditional love, quiet strength, and a softness that does not collapse under pressure. You remind him, through your energy and your steadiness, that love does not demand perfection. Love simply asks for truth, for honesty of heart, and for willingness to grow. On my own soul journey, I have known resistance not only in others, but within myself. There were seasons when those I loved stepped back, seasons when communication faltered, seasons when my own heart closed in self-protection, and there were moments when I felt progress drifting just beyond my reach, no matter how deeply I longed for clarity or closeness. In those moments of stillness and uncertainty, I learned something profound. What appears as a barrier is rarely meant to block us. Most barriers are not walls, they are thresholds. They are sacred gateways placed in our path not to punish us, but to initiate us into a deeper understanding of who we are and what we are meant to become. Resistance, when viewed with clarity, becomes a guiding teacher. Resistance is not the enemy of growth. It is the messenger of transformation. Just as I have felt the inner battle between fear and surrender, between holding on and letting go, so too does the divine masculine wrestle with his shadows. His hesitation is not rebellion, not apathy, and not a refusal to love you. It is a sacred pause, a necessary interlude, an internal winter before the blossoming of a truer and more aligned version of himself. Each moment of resistance invites him to dismantle outdated beliefs, inherited patterns, and emotional armor that once kept him safe, but now prevent him from stepping into genuine connection. Through this dismantling, both of you learn that love is not only about union in the light, it is also about honoring the sacred unfolding that happens in the shadows, the place where truth emerges, where healing begins, where new versions of the soul are born. In this understanding, resistance becomes not an obstacle, but an initiation into deeper love, deeper consciousness, and deeper union with the self and the divine. Imagine a divine masculine who appears confident, successful, and composed in the eyes of the world. He leads teams at work, makes decisions with clarity, and carries responsibility on shoulders that rarely show strain. But when he meets his twin flame, the woman whose presence awakens every dormant truth within him, something unexpected happens. After a deep conversation or an emotionally vulnerable moment, he suddenly becomes quiet. He stops replying, pulls back from plans, and seems distant without explanation. To the divine feminine, this may feel like rejection, but inside him, a storm is unfolding. Her words touched a place he has hidden for years, a place filled with old heartbreak and unspoken fears. He steps away not because he no longer cares, but because he needs space to hold the emotions rushing through him. In the silence, he is trying to understand why her love makes him feel both exposed and safe at the same time. He is not abandoning the connection. He is sitting with the parts of himself he once believed were unlovable. And through this pause, this sacred moment of inner reflection, he begins the slow, courageous journey of transforming fear into readiness and resistance into awakening. Number 4. The transformative catalyst and the divine feminine's role. There comes a moment on every twin flame journey when the old structures can no longer hold, when the inner world of the divine masculine reaches a sacred breaking point. This moment rarely announces itself with thunder. It often arrives quietly, disguised as an emotional crisis, a sudden spiritual awakening, or an unexpected life event that shakes the foundations he once relied on. What appears on the surface as turmoil is, in truth, a divine intervention, a cosmic recalibration meant to pull him out of the limitations he once believed kept him safe. Picture a river whose natural rhythm has been obstructed by fallen boulders. These boulders are the emotional burdens he carries silently: childhood wounds, abandonment fears, societal expectations, and the deep belief that he must stay strong by staying guarded. For years, the river flows around these blocks, pressing against them, but never fully breaking through. Yet pressure builds, the current strengthens, and then, in a sudden and powerful surge, the water crashes past the barriers, reshaping the landscape entirely. This is his moment of sacred release, the sacred cracking open that both terrifies him and liberates him. When the walls he built begin to crumble, he is confronted not with weakness, but with a truer, raw, more authentic version of himself. The masculine awakening does not always erupt like lightning. Most of the time, it begins as a whisper, an inner tug, a subtle shift invisible to the world, but undeniable to the soul. You may begin to notice that a new softness enters his voice, a gentleness he once believed he had to hide. You may feel his guarded heart beginning to open inch by inch, as if something ancient within him, is remembering what it feels like to trust. Distance slowly melts into presence. Where there was once hesitation, there is now willingness. And where there was silence, there appears the first flicker of connection, fragile, luminous, sacred. These small movements are not trivial. They are spiritual milestones. They are early signs of an inner alchemy that has already begun. Through all of this, the divine feminine plays an extraordinary and irreplaceable role. Your presence is not passive. You are not simply waiting or observing. You are the grounding force, the energetic womb of transformation, the silent power that holds the entire process with grace. Your energy becomes the stabilizing field in which his soul remembers how to feel again. You embody the kind of love that does not coddle weakness, nor inflame fear, but inspires awakening. You become the fertile soil where his growth takes root. Your unconditional love reflects back to him the version of himself he has long forgotten, the version he secretly hopes is real, but fears is too good to claim. You do not chase him or attempt to dismantle his defenses by force. Instead, you stand firm in your truth, your self-worth, your radiance. You hold space. You feel deeply. You remain rooted. You allow the transformation to unfold in its divine timing. Your intuition becomes a lighthouse cutting through the fog of his confusion. Without demanding or pressuring, your energy softly whispers the truth he needs to remember. That real love is not a prison, but a liberation. That vulnerability is not weakness, but the most sacred form of courage. That connection does not require perfection, only presence. Imagine a seed buried deep beneath the earth. At first glance, it seems motionless, trapped in darkness and pressured by layers of soil. It does not yet know what it is becoming, nor does it see the sunlight waiting above. But something within it stirs a quiet determination, a coded destiny. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the seed begins to sprout, pushing through darkness toward a light it has never seen but instinctively trusts. The divine masculine is that seed, and you, the divine feminine, are the nourishing earth surrounding him. You do not rush his blooming, nor do you force open what must unfold naturally. You wrap him in energetic warmth. You offer spiritual nourishment. You hold steady even when he retreats into the soil of his own fear. Your love becomes the safe ecosystem that allows him to rise not because you pull him, but because you create the conditions where he can choose to grow. Your patience becomes his courage. Your steadiness becomes his foundation. Your alignment becomes the quiet invitation that guides him from fear into fullness, from hiding into honesty, from resistance into union. You are not just part of his transformation. You are the sacred environment that allows it to happen at all. Number 5. The psychology of resistance and the inner fortress. To truly understand why the divine masculine resists the very love that feels destined, we must look far beneath the surface. His resistance is not careless, cold, or indifferent. It is not a rejection of the divine feminine, nor a dismissal of the connection. Instead, it is rooted in something far more ancient and far more sacred, in the instinct to protect himself at all costs. His resistance is not emotional avoidance. It is emotional self-preservation. It is the unconscious belief that if he allows himself to feel fully, he may shatter under the weight of those feelings. Many masculine souls have walked through life carrying silent burdens. From a young age, they are taught to suppress their emotions, to equate strength with stoicism, and to measure self-worth through productivity and action rather than emotional truth. Society often tells them that to be vulnerable is to be weak, to cry is to fail, to feel deeply is to be unstable. These teachings do not create emotional maturity, they create emotional imprisonment. Layer by layer, an invisible fortress forms within their psyche. Inside this fortress lie the remnants of old wounds, heartbreaks that were never healed, betrayals that broke trust, disappointments that hardened the heart. Each painful memory becomes another stone in the wall. Each experience of abandonment adds another layer of armor. Over time, this fortress becomes so familiar, so deeply ingrained, that he believes it is part of who he is. And though it was built for protection, it becomes a prison that traps his truest self from rising. These defenses show up in the ways you often see, but may not fully understand. Withdrawal becomes a shield against overwhelm. Emotional detachment becomes a way to avoid feeling too much. Anger becomes a guard dog standing at the gate of his heart. Control becomes a way to keep the unpredictable at bay. Even the fear of losing autonomy, the fear that opening himself to love might dissolve his identity, is a survival strategy built to keep him safe. But here is the truth that many overlook. These behaviors do not protect him from you. They protect him from the intensity of his own emotions. When the twin flame connection enters his life, it rattles the very structure of this inner fortress. Twin flame love is not gentle. It is not passive. It is not the kind of love that allows the heart to stay hidden. It is raw, catalytic, and spiritually disarming. It demands truth. It exposes everything, especially the parts he has learned to conceal. It calls him not only to trust another soul, but to trust himself, something far more terrifying. The twin flame union does not simply invite vulnerability. It requires vulnerability. And here lies the spiritual root of his resistance. He was raised to believe that vulnerability equals weakness. But the twin flame journey teaches the opposite, that vulnerability is the doorway to freedom, the path back to his authentic power. To soften is not to collapse. To open is not to lose. To feel is not to break. Vulnerability is the unveiling of his truest essence, not the unraveling of his strength. To be vulnerable is to show up fully with fears, doubts, scars, and hopes, and still choose to love. It is to stand naked in emotional truth and discover that he is not fragile but formidable. Through this courageous unveiling, the divine masculine experiences his deepest transformation. He learns that the fortress he built to protect himself has also kept love out, and in dismantling it, he does not lose power, he regains it. Resistance, once misunderstood as rejection, becomes a sacred mirror. It reflects where healing is needed, where old wounds still ache, where the heart is still afraid, and where the soul is ready to grow. When we honor the psychology behind his resistance, compassion replaces judgment. Instead of condemning him for pulling away, we recognize that he is confronting some of the most difficult inner battles a soul can face. He is not running from love. He is learning how to stand in love. And every step he takes toward vulnerability, no matter how small or hesitant, is a step toward union, healing, and the embodiment of his true divine masculine essence. If you've made it this far, beloved soul, it's a sign that this message is resonating with something deep inside you. Take a moment to breathe and reflect on what part of this journey mirrors your own. Have you felt the walls of a divine masculine? Have you witnessed his inner fortress, or perhaps recognized pieces of it within yourself? Your story matters, and your voice may be the exact light someone else needs. If you feel called, share your experience in the comments below, or simply type, "I honor the sacred process," as your affirmation. Your words are not just comments. They are energetic declarations that help anchor healing into this collective journey we are walking together. Number 6. Cycles of retreat and renewal, and embracing the greater purpose. Rewritten in a deeper, more engaging 1.5-page spiritual teaching style, the journey of the divine masculine is never a straight line. It is a living spiral, unfolding in sacred rhythms that mirror the ancient cycles of nature itself. Just as day dissolves into night and winter eventually yields to spring, his spiritual evolution rises and falls in waves of retreat, reflection, renewal, and return. These cycles are not random. They are purposeful, divinely timed passages that carry him closer to his true essence and, ultimately, to the heart of your shared union. There will be moments that feel like deep emotional winter, times when he retreats into silence, pulls inward, or creates distance that feels confusing or painful. At first glance, it may appear as though everything has stopped, as if the connection has gone cold or lost momentum. But what the physical senses cannot see is that beneath that stillness, powerful alchemical shifts are taking place. The inner soil of his soul is being broken open. Old identities that once defined him are cracking. Wounds he buried long ago are rising to the surface to be witnessed, felt, and finally released. His retreat is not abandonment, it is restoration. Just as the earth in winter looks barren on the outside, while its seeds quietly gather strength beneath frozen ground, the divine masculine uses these seasons of withdrawal to rebuild parts of himself he cannot reconstruct in the presence of external pressure. In the quiet, he re-examines who he is and who he wants to become. He reviews the beliefs he inherited, the fears that shape him, the stories that no longer fit the man he is growing into. His silence is not a void. It is a sacred chamber of metamorphosis. And then, just as spring always arrives even after the harshest winter, renewal emerges. Slowly at first, like the subtle thawing of frozen earth. His heart begins to soften. His energy becomes lighter. The walls he once used for protection begin to melt away. A sense of clarity rises within him as he reconnects with the truth of the connection and with the truth of himself. When he returns, he does not return as the man who left. He comes back more honest, more conscious, more capable of standing in the flame of divine union with courage and vulnerability. Every cycle of separation and reunion is not a setback. It is a necessary step in the evolution of your shared soul journey. These moments of retreat open space for growth that cannot happen in constant closeness. They create opportunities for both of you to shed outdated layers and rise into greater versions of yourselves. Separation makes room for expansion. Silence creates space for divine recalibration. And each return is more aligned, more grounded, and more infused with purpose than the one before. When you truly understand this rhythm, you stop fearing the winters. You stop interpreting his distance as rejection. Instead, you begin to honor the ebb just as much as the flow. You begin to respect the retreat as an essential part of your intertwined evolution. His resistance is not a mistake. It is not an omen of failure. It is not proof that the connection is weakening. It is part of the sacred architecture of twin flame awakening. What looks like avoidance, delay, or emotional distance is, in truth, a deep invitation for healing, alignment, and clarity for both of you. These pauses illuminate what still needs to be released, what still needs to be strengthened, and what still longs to be healed within each soul. Remember this: the twin flame journey was never meant to be two incomplete beings trying to complete one another. It was always meant to be two whole souls walking beside each other, rising in love rather than falling into it. The cycles you experience are not random emotional storms. They are carefully orchestrated opportunities that allow each of you to evolve into the fullest expression of your divine purpose. So open your heart and allow this truth to settle gently within you. Trust the rhythm, trust the pauses, trust the cycles that seem to break you open, because they are the very cycles that prepare you for union in a higher, more expansive form. If this speaks to your soul, take a moment to affirm your trust in the journey by typing, "I trust the divine timing of my journey." Number 7. The dance of resistance, the unified rhythm, and the final embrace of truth. Rewritten in a deeper, more evocative, 1.5-page spiritual teaching style, as you continue walking this sacred path, begin to imagine your twin flame connection not as a linear journey, but as a divine dance, an intricate choreography guided by a universe that knows exactly when to move you forward, when to gently pause you, and when to pull you inward for deeper healing. Every step, every hesitation, every moment of silence between you is not random. It is a movement in a cosmic symphony, designed to awaken both of your souls in perfect timing. When the divine masculine pulls away, it is rarely an act of rejection. More often, it is his soul searching for solid ground beneath his feet. When he hesitates, it is because he is gathering the strength needed to meet you with the fullness, sincerity, and depth that this connection requires. Every pause he takes is a sacred invitation, an invitation for him to confront his wounds, fears, and old stories, and an invitation for you to root yourself more deeply in your own truth, your own wisdom, and your own divine feminine strength. This rhythm can feel unpredictable at times. The stretches of silence may echo through your chest like an ache you cannot name. Moments of distance may feel like winter winds sweeping through a once warm landscape, and yet, even in those moments of apparent disconnection, There is movement. There is hidden alignment. The universe is weaving your paths together beneath the surface, shaping not only passion and longing, but purpose, balance, and wholeness. And then, when the time is right, when he finally lays down the armor forged from fear, survival, and pain, you witness something breathtaking. His resistance does not crumble into abandonment. Instead, it transforms. What once felt like a wall becomes a bridge that carries both of you into deeper vulnerability, deeper recognition, and deeper union than either of you have ever known. Your hearts do not simply return to one another. They begin to move in a shared rhythm. What emerges is not just connection, but resonance. Not just alignment, but unity. You feel the shift, not only in him, but in yourself. It is as though your souls remember an ancient dance they practiced long before this lifetime. And now, after cycles of retreat and return, they finally fall into sync. As we step into the final embrace of truth, allow these words to settle softly yet powerfully within you. Resistance is not goodbye. It is not rejection. It is not the collapse of what could have been. In its highest spiritual form, resistance is an invitation. It is the divine masculine's way of signaling that true intimacy requires inner work, not outward performance. It is his soul asking for space not to flee from love, but to learn how to receive it without fear, without distortion, and without the weight of old wounds dictating the present. Healing does not respond to pressure. It does not rush. It does not bow to human timelines. Healing unfolds in divine timing, guided by forces far wiser than fear, expectation, or impatience. This is why you must trust the pauses, trust the delays, trust the silence that feels heavy, yet strangely sacred. These moments are not signs of collapse, they are signs of preparation. Every tear you have shed on this journey, every night spent questioning the path, every step that pulled you away from what once felt familiar has been an act of sacred release. You have shed layers that were never meant to stay, and with every release, renewal has quietly begun to bloom beneath the surface of your soul. The twin flame path was never meant to be a simple romance. It is a revolution of the soul, a dismantling of illusions, a purification of the heart, a remembrance of who you were before fear taught you to shrink. The union you seek is not only a union with another soul, it is a reunion with yourself, your truth, and the divine essence you carry. If your heart recognizes these words, breathe deeply, soften your chest, and allow yourself to receive this truth. You are not waiting for union, you are becoming it. As we close this sacred reflection, remember this truth that lives quietly beneath all the chaos, the longing, and the silence. The twin flame path is not only about the union of two souls, it is also about the parts of yourself you once abandoned, the inner fragments you learned to silence, and the pieces of your heart you were taught to hide. When the divine masculine begins to shed his armor and the divine feminine softens into trust, something extraordinary happens. Both energies begin moving toward a sacred equilibrium, where love is no longer something to chase or fear, but something you become, something you embody, something you allow. This is the moment where the journey turns inward, where the soul remembers what the mind forgot, where you step into the truth that has been waiting patiently within you. And now, I invite you to speak that truth aloud, to anchor it not just in your thoughts but in your actions and your vibration. If your heart is open, if your soul is listening, go to the comments and declare this with clarity and intention. Love is the promise, union is the journey. Type it as an affirmation, type it as a remembrance, type it as a vow to your higher self. Let these words echo through your energy field and call you back into alignment with what you were always meant to experience. If this message has touched something deep within you, if it resonated with your heart or brought you a moment of peace, I lovingly ask you to like this message, share it with someone who may need this reminder, and stay connected for more divine guidance. Your engagement helps this wisdom reach the hearts it was meant for. Before you go, take a breath and feel this truth settle within you. You are not alone. You are not lost. You are in the sacred process of becoming. And in that becoming, you are love. If you feel called, continue your journey by watching the video. Just below your next message may be waiting there.